Hello everyone, hola. Welcome to Bailando. First of all, we wanted to acknowledge that we are on the unceded, traditional, and ancestral territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, colonially known as Vancouver. We believe that it's important to remember this when we gather as a community. My name is Francesca Piscopo. I'm the Artistic Associate and Director of Community Engagement and Outreach at DanceHouse. For those that don't know, DanceHouse is an arts organization presenting international Canadian dance and dance artists here in Vancouver. This year we celebrate our 15th anniversary. Happy birthday, DanceHouse. If you want to know more about our upcoming season and our shows, there is a table outside in the lobby. You can swing by and chat with our colleagues. And for this event, we are happy to partner with Vancouver Latin American Cultural Center. To ask for inspiring artists and dancers, what is the Latin American dance scene in Vancouver? First of all, you will enjoy them performing on stage in order: the artist Salome Nieto, then Luis Garcia, co-founder of Nahualli Folklore Society. I'm practicing pronunciation here. With Isabel Arenas. And choreographer Davi Rodrigues from Lamondance. The performers will be, I have to read because it's Lazaro Silva and Oksana Maslechko. I hope I pronounced it well. Afterwards, activist and educator Sonia Medel will join them for a roundtable conversations moderated by Danais Yera. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Francesca, and a happy birthday to DanceHouse. They are celebrating the quinceañera party, how we call it in Latin America. So, buenas noches, my name is Danais Yera, and I am the operations coordinator of the Vancouver Latin American Cultural Center. VLACC is a nonprofit organization with the mandate to celebrate a deeper understanding of the Latin American arts and culture here in Vancouver. We are very excited to be here to partner with the DanceHouse for this event, which is part of the Latin Expressions, our series of events to celebrate the Latin American Heritage Month that we celebrate this month of October. At the end of this event, we have a great gift for all of you, so we really hope you stay until the very end. It's a special gift. We're not going to announce it now. You need to stay until the very end. So thank you so much to the entire team of the DanceHouse for partnering with us for this event. It has been a real pleasure working with all of them. I think it's going to be an amazing night. We also want to thank our funders, Canada Council for the Arts, BC Art Council, the province of British Columbia, the city of Vancouver, Metro Vancouver, and the Joseph Warren Foundation. Also, our gratitude to Benjamin Rice at the UBC Latin American Studies Department and the staff here at UBC Robson Square. And of course, many thanks to our volunteers, because without them, we couldn't make this event happen. So thank you to all of them. And of course, thank you to the great audience that were so brave that I don't know how much you struggled to get here tonight. So we really appreciate that you are sharing this space with us tonight. Thank you so much. to start with some questions for them, and then we're gonna open the floor for you to ask questions. So as well, our conversation starts, please elaborate your questions, because this event is also for you to have a voice and to have a space and to ask them your thoughts and share your opinions. Thank you. Your microphone.
How long does a piece take to rehearse before you feel confident to perform?
Ooh. Maybe 20, 40 hours, right? Maybe more, 80. 80, you start creating and then.
It really depends on what you're going for. So it takes a lot of time off studio thinking and at the studio, as you said. It's hard to say for like, you take 30 hours, 40 hours. Because as you come up with an idea, things start to evolve, and the concept that you originally had evolved to something else, and then it takes time.
Sometimes it takes years.
Yes.
From the concept until the production is actually. But I want to ask you, what do you think is the role of the Latin American dancers in general, and in particular in Vancouver? Maybe we can start breaking the ice with that.
We will ask this question to everyone.
Okay, I wasn't wanting to be the first one, but
Yeah.
thanks.
And what is your kind of understanding of that?
Well, my understanding of Latin American dance, it goes deep because it has to do with our past, and it's a way of us to understand how that cultural miscegenation makes our identity today. That's what I think. Yeah, very simple.
Yeah, okay, so Latin American dance, what is it? It's many, many things. As varied as the artists making dance, from our folklore, our traditional dance, to contemporary dance, to experimental dance. Yeah, and I think we now have presence here in Vancouver.
And maybe kind of attached to that question, if you, as you answer, you can maybe address this one. Do you think there is actually a Latin American dance scene in Vancouver?
I don't know. I think that we have presence. I've been here 30 years, and from when I came to now, there is a small community of Latin American dancers, choreographers. I think that this is a great conversation, and that the platforms are beginning to open. Thank you, VLACC. Thank you, DanceHouse. Yeah, but we need more opportunities, and we need also mentorship.
I second and third my colleagues here. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, VLACC and Dana, and also Francesca from DanceHouse. Definitely, I've been dancing in Vancouver for 20 years, Mexican traditional dance. And through these 20 years, today I can say that Latin American dance is emerging into the official scene. Because I think it's been there all this time. Definitely, we have been here and we have performed. And this is a great space, a great opportunity to be here. And I feel that from now on, I think we can definitely consider the Latin American dance scene something that has to be established, and we have to work harder to establish it in the formal scene. Thank you.
I want to begin as well by thanking DanceHouse and VLACC for hosting this, and all of you performers. I didn't perform tonight, and Davi's company, dancers that performed as well. I think this is a really timely and necessary conversation. What is Latin American dance? Is there a Latin American dance scene? What is it to me? As brief as I can answer that, Latin American dance has existed for centuries. I think that Latin America has been a center and a locus for forms of dance that aren't typically associated as having a birthplace in Latin America. And I think that Latin Americans historically have powerfully taken up Latin or dance forms from other parts of the world and transformed them into powerful, beautiful, beautiful things. Whether they're now considered traditional, folkloric, contemporary, classical, buto, etc. And Latin American dance here is seen in Vancouver. I think that it is very diverse as the Latin Americans that we are. And I absolutely think that there is a scene that is growing. But I think that it is hard to define because, again, our diversity. But I think that we absolutely need support. And I think that what you can find if you put in the energy like you have today to learn about the Latin American artists is incredibly, incredibly unique and provides an opportunity to everybody that partakes in it. And I think that we have a lot going on in Vancouver, for sure.
Thank you. Another question for everyone. So as a Canadian-born Latin American artist or as immigrant artist, what is your sense of identity and how do you integrate this idea in your artistic practice?
Thank you. I hope everybody will agree with your own way of thinking of this. So I am from Brazil, and I arrived here 16 years ago. So the person that I was when I arrived, with the identity that I brought with me, with my values, my Brazilian culture, is no longer what I am today. Today I'm a Canadian citizen, and with that, I learned through these 16 years so much about the culture here. Am I less Brazilian? No. I just have a different intake of the world from the eyes of that I learned here in Vancouver, in Canada. And the way that I try to portray that with my artistic practice, as you saw today, my two dances, I don't dance anymore. But I didn't bring samba, I didn't bring the carnival from Brazil. I also didn't brought something that's related to soccer, because that's when I open my mouth to say I'm Brazilian. Oh, do you play soccer? With my respect to the players, I hate soccer. It was a fight at home. My brothers, they love it. I didn't. I want to see dance, and only one TV. It was a fight. So I love Carnival, but I'm very proud of my country for being known as a country that we have great soccer players, and the Carnival is a huge thing. But also Brazil, we have so much more than those two things. And what I try to bring to my art is the passion, is the human touch, is the reality of life. So I guess that's my way of responding to your question. And thank you for opening this table. I think it's a great start. So thank you all for being here and for supporting us with this. Thank you.
Thank you. I do love soccer. My identity is fluid. Identity in general is fluid. It changes with us. We change. And I am Mexican, yes. I was born Mexican, and I carry and I honor my ancestry, my lineage. But I am now Canadian, and I did work to become Canadian, and I continue to work because that was a choice. I didn't have a choice to be Mexican. So I embrace my Mexicanity, mi Mexicanidad. I am very proud of it, but I am also very proud of my Canadian side. So I consider myself a Mexican Canadian. and I've been here half my life, so I think it's okay. And and I do it naturally. I work very intuitively, and I listen to my embodied knowledge, and my work starts with my ethnography. It's very ethnographic to begin with. I am very influenced by surrealism, by the shamanic spirit, by dream, by imagery, by the colors of my country. And so that is embedded in my work. But I am doing contemporary work too, and I'm very experimental, so yeah.
There is a word that I actually like a lot. I didn't understand it at the beginning, but this Mexican, the Mexico-Canadian part. And I feel very proud to be Canadian. I'm a Canadian citizen. And this country has given me the great opportunity to learn, but also to present something that I'm in love with. And this part of my identity, which is Mexican traditional dance. And Mexican traditional dance is so extensive. And presenting it here in Vancouver or in Canada gives me a completely different perspective from when I actually learned in Mexico, as being Mexican in Mexico, but now being Mexico-Canadian in Canada. And people love it as well, and I'm just so in love with Mexican dance, and I love every part of it. And I love actually presenting it, and definitely that's part of my identity. When people listen to me talking, normally they say, oh, you are Mexican. Yes, I'm Mexican, but I'm also Canadian. They look at my color of skin. Yes, I'm Mexican, and I'm proud of that, and that's part of my identity that I want to share with everybody at every given opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, identity, I agree with you, Salome, that it's fluid and it changes as we go through life. For me, dance has been a way for me to claim my identity as a Chilena, Peruana, indigenous Afro-descendant that was born here to an exiled father and a mother that immigrated. I was the brown girl in classical ballet classes, very, very young, the only one in the west side of Vancouver. I then became, the one whose body was a bit awkward for the early contemporary, classes when there weren't Davis around per se, right? And where I found my strength was when I went back to Peru. They took me as a child, and in the teachings of indigenous and Afro, what's known as folklore here, I don't really like the term folklore, I prefer traditional. That's where I learned to understand my body, and that's where I gained confidence and a sense of my identity. I also learned respect for communities that I didn't visibly represent, but are in my blood. So directly indigenous peoples, visibly black peoples. And I think that it's also taught me how to grapple with stereotypes of what being Latin American is and how the Latin American body, especially for women, is supposed to, or I guess is thought to be and to look like. And it has also empowered me to teach men, because I am a feminist, I'm an intersectional feminist, apart from being a dancer and a scholar, to be very firm with how I stand in relation to my sexuality and my sensuality, and learn how to explain the difference. So that's like dance and identity are like this for me, and I think it'll keep changing, but in a way that it is story and it is power.
I know you are thinking we should sanitize the mics, but we are all safe here, hopefully. So we're curious to know also, what do you think is the role of a Latin American dancer, of Latin American artist in Vancouver this day, and what do you think it is important in terms of your artistic practice, the message that you want to share, if you want to share any message? But what's the role?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna say it, okay? I don't know. I don't see myself as a Latin American dancer that has a role as a Latin American dancer. I see myself as an artist, and that my role is, well, of course, to be a role model, because now I realize that there are 2 generations behind me, but it's more about, for me, to use performance for transformation, for see the world dissected, deconstructed, and then give it back to performance with new possibilities. Like, what could it be? Not to do an art that doesn't represent who we are, how we are, but actually who we can be, how we can be in a community. So, yeah, and if I think of my Latin American side, well, I want to do work that is well done. I want to honor my culture, and I want to represent well with dignity. So I hope I answered correctly. And if you see me looking funny, it's because I don't have my glasses and I am a bit blind, okay? So it's kind of weird.
Sonia.
Just thinking, I think, Luis, did you want to jump in on this question originally? I think no. Oh gosh, there's so much to say for this one. Could you repeat the question, actually?
So what do you think in general, if you know, not only as a Latin American artist, what do you think it's the role of the arts in the society nowadays? And do you think that what is happening now in general in the world, the artworks, the arts movement, are really meeting your expectations?
Okay, I'll try to answer that concisely. I think that art, there's so many different ways to approach it. I think essentially for me what it means is just, it's joy and healing, and it's medicine, right? I don't want to define it for anybody else. I think that it has typically been taken up as a form of resistance. I think that to not acknowledge that, especially in relation to Latin America, would be mistaken, because it has been used in direct resistance. I think it continues to be used in public performance, public manifestations, with very direct impacts for political change. I think that the body itself has a strength and a power. In terms of for here in Vancouver, I think that the dancing, I guess, Latin American body, because Salome, as you said, you don't perform Latin American dance per se, has power in itself, right? So we are not a visible majority. I think that seeing us has immense impact for youth and for children. I also think that we can, when we think of social movements right now, I think that where we have agency and power is thinking about exactly what Vancouver looks like right now and what kind of arts and culture scene we have going on and what our role in it is as consumers and as artists, and who has access to resources, who has access to something like this theater and this space, right? So it is a blessing that we are here, and it comes with our struggles and our privileges, right? And I think that we can ask why we haven't had more opportunities, Latin Americans that perform different dance styles and Latin American art. So I think that we can all be a part of an arts and culture movement today here in Vancouver. I hope that answered.
Very well. And a question for Davi and Luis, because I mean, you consider yourself immigrant artists because you came here a long time ago, differently for Sonia, who was born here. What do you think it is, or it was, the biggest challenge that you face as an artist, also creating your own companies, your own society. Did you feel supported to pursue your goal or your artistic desire without offending anyone?
Thank you for that. Not to sound negative, my biggest struggle when I arrived here was trying to understand how Canada, Vancouver, which if I could compare with Brazil, was ahead of the game in terms of resources and technology, and everything that will come up with the organization that I today run would come up with was a no, and then in my country, okay, there's no, but tell me why. Oh, because you cannot change that light over there because there's not a bulb. So what if we create another possibility to make that, not use that light, but use something else? And there was always a no. It's not that I struggle with no's, but everything was so difficult. And then when I compare with my people, my Brazilian people, we don't have jobs. And there are families that they need to provide food. And the parents, they come up with brilliant ideas on how to bring food to the table. Like I say, when I teach the company, I say, listen, I came up from a very poor family. My mom had to work to provide food for 5 kids. Then we always had rice and beans. But my mom, that lady, every day was different. The rice and beans was different. And then that's when I teach the dance. I said, you do your tendus every day. Tendus will be tendus everywhere for as long as we understand. But make them different. So that was my struggle coming here, like to understand why everything was so difficult when this city, this country, was ahead of the game. So that was my biggest struggle. And what I tried to do I feel supported? Today I do, especially the people that understand who Davi, as a human being, as an artist, is. I do feel supported, but there is so much more that I feel that Canada, Vancouver, can still provide to movements like this, to give us the opportunity to be seen, to talk, and for us also to learn from. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, you did.
Why are you laughing?
You did, David. Definitely, I've been dancing for, like I was saying, for 20 years, and it's been a bumpy road. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna put names to anything, but it is definitely a system created for people that is born here, which I respect. I respect, definitely. You need to learn the rules, you need to learn the language, you need to learn how to navigate through the organizations and how to fill the forms and mentorship, etc., etc. But what I wanted to say with this question is that the pandemic, I'm not going to talk about the pandemic, but the one thing that I'm really grateful, because I lost people through the pandemic, but the one thing that I'm really grateful after the pandemic is that a lot of resources actually opened up for a lot of organizations like mine, Nahualli Folklore Society, that had been knocking on doors. And it's a good moment. It's a great momentum, actually, that we are trying to take advantage, in a good way, obviously, but to take advantage, to make our voices to be heard. And I could say that, no, I did not feel support for many years, but just like Davi was saying, that lately I think I'm feeling the love, and I'm feeling the support, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna ride that horse.
And if you wanna get a little bit of taste of Nahualli Folklore Society, they have a great show tomorrow at the Annex. It's at 7. It's at 7 p.m. So you can still purchase your ticket and really get to know them a little bit better and get a better sense of the work that they do. So now we open the floor to you. I hope you have some questions ready. It's hard to see, which which is helpful because I'm a little bit shy. Okay, now it's better. Uh, so if you can just raise your hands and with your loud voice ask your questions, they will be happy to answer. Anybody would like to start? Okay.
I got a couple of questions. First is which is the genre that you like to dance when you're out for a party, right? And why is that you enjoy that genre particularly? And the second is that like lately, particularly in the U.S., Canada, the Latin American music is very associated with reggaeton, right? So what do you feel about that? Do you feel like that it might have like sometimes like obscured other or kind of thrown a shade over other genres? That's the sum.
Who would like to answer those questions?
So your first question is which genre do we like to dance when we go out? Well, I think we can all jump into that one. Socially, gosh, I love so many different types of music, but I am, I will accept the stereotype. I've also trained in different types of salsa. I love salsa. I love cumbia, the different kinds of cumbia that each country has. The origins of it in Colombia, across Mexico, across where you can find it. I love casino from Cuba. And I love reggaeton. I love perreo. I am one of those. To answer it quickly, I think that we have to be careful as Latin Americans to not repeat to not box ourselves in on the one hand, but also to not repeat the judgments that have been placed from what is sort of a highbrow art approach to art, right? That was very colonial. I think that we can be in all of those spaces and engage all of those art forms. I think that reggaeton has Black roots and it's very related to a form of popular expression and political expression, and it is taken up in different ways in relation to sensuality and sexuality. So I don't want to disempower performers of it and people that take it up in different ways. I'm glad that it's a part of our culture right now. And I look forward to how I think it's going to be taken up going forward even more in relation to performance.
You answered that eloquently. I don't think I can add anything else. Oh, all kinds of music. If I'm talking about Latin American music, cumbia probably is my favorite. But I think that all genres have value. All types of dance have value. We all dance. We all should dance. We should always be dancing. Or we should be aware and recognize that we're always dancing, even if we're not. I don't know if that makes any sense, but think about it.
Cumbia.
Cumbia.
I don't even need to go out of my home. I just love whatever music it's on. I just love to express myself through movement. And I think it's a right that we have, and it is something that we need to explore. And there is no bad dancers or people with left feet in this world. So if we have a body, we are able to dance, and we should do it. And we should give it a try. Okay, next question. Don't be shy. I'm the only one shy here in this room. Okay, over there, Lily.
I have a curiosity. It's a question for Salome. I've heard that there is a Buto scene in Mexico. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Can you let me know why and if that is related to your interest in Buto?
Yes. I actually part of my work is I'm looking for those intersections between Buto and my culture. And the Buto is very sought after in Latin America, in Europe, and it's not so popular in Japan. It is a dance that looks into the surreal and into the subconscious, and it uses imagery, and it takes you to the esoteric because of the work it does with the body. It's about just presence. It's about being in your body in the moment, and it is about transformation, looking for moments of transformations, and the way Buto thinks and addresses the theme of transformation is through birth and rebirth, and you are born and then you die and to be born again, and this is just speaking of our humanity. And Mexico shares those tenets, Mexico's idiosyncrasy, and that comes from before the colonization, this relationship with life and death and transformation and just being present, and the esoteric. And again, not as magic that is just out there like it is about the possibility, the imagination, and it is about that fourth dimension that we can enter. And many Latin American cultures, Black culture, are super connected with that fourth dimension through shamanism, and so the Buto really is very similar that way. And so, yeah, it's really, there's a strong movement of Buto in Mexico. Yeah. I hope I made sense and I didn't go in circles.
No, thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, Lily, for the question, and Salome for addressing the question. Yes, please.
Hello, thank you so much for the wonderful and insightful discussion. There's been mention about not enough opportunities potentially to display or to showcase Latin American dance arts. What kind of opportunities would you want more of, or what would those look like for you?
Who would like to? There you go.
Thank you. This forum definitely is an example. If this could be I'm just going to put it there, a yearly opportunity. Not only for my company, but there is many other companies out there that are seeking for this opportunity. Obviously, if I'm not here, I'm glad to be here today. Also, my organization, the Nahualli Folklore Society, participates on festivals normally, but we are trying to get more into the formal scene as well to show our work, and in theaters, on events organized by organizations like VLACC, for example, in 2019. That was a great opportunity. That's what we are looking for. Mentorship as well, how to complete grants, and follow up on that as well. Feedback on our own work as well. Not only being ignored or being looked at, but also feedback, like how can you improve what you're presenting?
I want to jump into this one. I think that, I went through the university system here, but I did not know, and I could not write a successful grant. I only recently won a grant for a doc film because I partnered with someone who had a history of knowing how to write these grants. They're white. They wanted to put in the time to partner and support. So I think that has to change structurally. We need to support, like if I didn't know how to do that or how to navigate the Canada Council for the Arts system, of course newcomers, right? Or even someone that's been here 10 years might not know about how to do this. I think questioning how we understand accessibility, because our new arts and culture strategy came out just, what was it, last year? It was mid-pandemic, right? What is accessibility? What is accessible, right? And according to what systems? I used to run a dance group, And part of it was teaching traditions I was taught by maestros in Latin America who aren't really okay with charging monies for what they teach. And I didn't feel okay charging monies here. And so, and we also, it was mostly women participating at the time. And, you know, it wasn't accessible to rent rooms at a dance center for, you know, whatever it was that the cost was, anywhere between 30 to 60 to maybe 100 the hour. So I think we really need to question how we understand accessibility. You know, it might actually be as low as $10, and that's where we need to go if we want to support Latin American artists. I think as well we need to consider how do we understand professional, right? And if I hadn't had opportunities from organizations like New Works that was working with, I don't think VLACC at the time, but probably DanceHouse and other organizations, they're specifically looking to, you know, support artists with not that designation to access funds and gain that title, right? But then again, also what dance forms are associated more typically to professional dance, right? They tend to be certain dance forms. I don't know if Davi, you can maybe speak to this or not, but I think there is so much we can do, and there's so much that arts and culture organizations right now can do to become more accessible, more inclusive, and to really support diverse Latin American artists.
Thank you. David, do you want to add anything to this question?
So for me, in regards to the grants, if we can talk about that, the first time I wrote a grant was successful. I was in shock because I couldn't believe that someone that, you know, English wasn't my first language, and it was successful. But through time, it got harder because of all the things you mentioned. But now, because I'm very present, it's actually writing grants is taking away a little bit of my passion, which is the dance. But then things are changing. They are not the way that we are mentioning here, but for instance, the Canada Arts Council, BC Arts Council, they do have some sessions and workshops available to help you, and I strongly encourage you to connect with them. Is this enough? No, because for me also, the questions that they ask, for me, is not relevant to what we are in need for the money. But in terms of visibility, I think this, as you mentioned, this is a great opportunity. And when you said that maybe it's a year thing, and every season we bring different artists, different genres of Latin American dance, or even others, here I think is the start, right? Yeah, I hope that answer.
You are all answering. And all the answers are correct. I think we have time for... Oh, no time. So I want to thank you again for sharing your art with us, for sharing your thoughts, your experience, your journey. And I want to thank you all as well for your questions and for being here tonight, and of course the DanceHouse for hosting this event with VLACC. If we need to leave this room today, just remember we all have a body that we need to connect with, and just carry our body wherever we go, and carry our dance, our inside and our outside dance wherever we go as well. Galia?
Oh, Francesca. Galia's there. Very quickly, I wanted just to say thanks to Danais, to everyone else. Thank you for being here. And now, if we go all outside, yeah, I will pass it to you, for a mingle and a refreshment. So please stay with us a bit longer, and there is a surprise.
Oh yeah, that's true. So to close our celebration, our Latin expression series of events, we have an amazing concert that is going to be next Friday and next Saturday, November 4th and 5th. And we want to offer you, for really braving the rain and the storm, free tickets. So if you are really available to go. If you want to enjoy a great lineup of musicians that is leading by Sal Ferreras, please meet our volunteers outside. We're going to be able to give you 2 tickets for the Saturday concert, November the 5th. It's going to be at 8 p.m. at the Vancouver Playhouse. You can also grab one of these postcards. Look at the beautiful design. I can guarantee you that it's going to be a fantastic night. We're going to have a pre-talk show that you can also learn more about Puerto Rican music and the repertoire that Sal have been putting together. And I really, really hope you can join us next Saturday, November the 5th. If you are able, meet our volunteers outside, and they will be super excited to give you a couple tickets so you can go and celebrate with us. Thank you so much, everybody.